Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gene Walker, and I'm the president of the School Board of Directors for Pittsburgh Public Schools. Tonight is our agenda review meeting for Pittsburgh Public Schools and the Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit. Tonight is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. We will begin our meeting with the Pittsburgh Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit and Miss Jennifer Solak.
Good evening. Thank you. I have 8 items for you tonight. Under business and contracted services, I have 2 items. 24.01 is a contract with Lee Davis and Associates Consulting for mentoring, life skills, and personal growth and development at Schumann Center and ACJ as part of the transition planning for students. 24.02 is a contract with MGT Impact Solutions to provide Title I reading and math services for students from the city of Pittsburgh at 2 diocesan schools outside of the city of Pittsburgh. I have 1 item under payments authorized. 25.01 are our daily payments for the month of October. And under general authorization, I have 5 items. 26.01 is the acceptance of IDEA Part B equitable participation funds from Pittsburgh Public for parentally placed students with disabilities in the non-public schools in the city of Pittsburgh. 26.02 is a letter of agreement with Duquesne City School District to provide Title I reading and math support to non-public students. 26.03 is an agreement with TransPerfect to provide interpreting services to the parents and teachers of English language learners at non-public schools. 26.04 is an amendment to item 26.07 under general authorization approved at the September meeting to adjust the amount listed as Title I carryover funds. And 26.05 is an amendment to item 26.06 general authorization approved at the September meeting due to an error in the schools and also an adjustment to the amounts listed. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Solak. Are there any questions from the board on the Pittsburgh Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit? All right, seeing none, thank you. We'll see you on Tuesday. All right, we will now shift gears to the Pittsburgh Public Schools agenda, and we'll start with the education portion. And in a guest speaker role tonight, we have Dr. Sean McNeil will walk us through.
Thank you. There are 5 items under education proposal grant awards. Item 5.01 is to accept a grant to support Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy's robotics team. Item 5.02 is to accept a grant to support FIRST Robotics programming. Item 5.03 is to accept a grant for classroom supplies at Pittsburgh Arlington. Item 5.04 is to accept a grant for the PA Student Teacher Support Program to pay stipends to eligible student teachers. Item 5.5 is to accept a grant to support the student garden at Pittsburgh Malliance. There are 20 items under education consultants contracted services. Item 6.01 is for a contract renewal with One Nation to provide mentoring services at Brashear High School. Item 6.02 is to approve payment for after-school CCS programming. Item 6.03 is for a contract with Community Kitchen Pittsburgh to provide meals for Project Elect students. Item 6.04 is to approve payment to Contemporary Craft to provide CCS programming. Item 6.05 is to enter into a contract with Dylan Powell to provide dance lessons for Pittsburgh Allegheny K-5's musical. Item 6.06 is for a contract with Hand in Hand Coaching Services to provide CCS after-school services. Item 6.07 is for a contract with Healthy Start to engage parents in discussions about safety. Item 6.08 is to make payment to HMH for in-person coaching of the Read 180 and Math 180 programs. Item 6.09 is for a contract with Catherine Hawk to provide direction for Pittsburgh Allegheny K-5's musical. Item 6.10 is to make payment to the Learning Disabilities Association of Pennsylvania for one-to-one reading interventions. Item 6.11 is for a contract with Mark C. Johnson for after-school programming at Pittsburgh Dilworth Pre-K 5. Item 6.12 is for a contract with Dr. Martin Gregorio to provide medical consultation and support to the early childhood health team. Item 6.13 is for a contract with Mary Young to provide supplemental support with English language proficiency screenings and to assist ESL families during the enrollment process. Item 6.14 is to make payment to Mawatu LLC to provide programming to students at Pittsburgh Arsenal 6-8. Item 6.15 is for a contract with the Peterson Event Center for the use of their facilities for the 2025 commencement practices and ceremonies. Item 6.16 is to approve payment for after-school and Saturday CCS programming at the Pittsburgh Center for Arts and Media. Item 6.17 is for a contract with Unique Arts to provide a STEAM enrichment program to Pittsburgh Lincoln students. Item 6.18 is to make payment to System 123 to provide support to kindergarten teachers and teens. Item 6.19 is for a contract with Western PA School for the Deaf to provide ASL interpreter services. Item 6.20 is for a contract with Youth Enrichment Services to provide community school support at Pittsburgh Arsenal Pre-K 5 and Pittsburgh Arsenal 6-8. There are 4 items under education payments authorized. Item 7.01 is to approve payment to Developing Minds, Inc. to facilitate a professional learning workshop. Item 7.02 is to provide equitable participation funding to Pittsburgh Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit Number 2 for students with disabilities placed in parochial and private schools. Item 7.03 is for pass-through funds to charter schools for students with disabilities. Item 7.04 is to pay eligible student teachers a stipend. There are 19 items under the Education General Authorization. Item 8.01 is to accept a donation from Barnes & Noble on behalf of the ELECT Teen Parenting Program and the Early Childhood Program. Item 8.02 is to accept a donation for the Building a Culture of Literacy initiative to provide holistic resource for literacy programming. Item 8.03 is to accept gift bags and vouchers for students at various schools. Item 8.04 is to accept a donation from Duquesne University School of Education to support monthly PBIS initiatives at Pittsburgh King Pre-K 8. Item 8.05 is to accept a donation from the Langley Alumni Association to provide incentives for students at Pittsburgh Langley Pre-K 8. Item 8.06 is to accept a donation of equipment from MSA North America for students in the CTE Emergency Response Technology Program at Pittsburgh Westinghouse. Item 8.07 is to accept an in-kind donation of gift cards for McKinney-Vento students at Pittsburgh Faison K5 and Pittsburgh Lincoln K5. Item 8.8 is to accept a donation of coats, shoes, and socks from Operation Warm. Item 8.09 is to approve a MOU between Pittsburgh Public Schools and the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation and Pittsburgh Community Rink Operation LP. Item 8.10 is to accept a donation of Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium admission tickets for PPS fourth graders. Item 8.11 is to accept a donation to implement and sustain the Start with Hello and Say Something programs at Pittsburgh Arlington. Item 8.12 is to accept a donation from the Trade Home Shoes Shoe Drop-Off Program. Item 8.13 is to amend item 6.02, approved at the September 25th, 2024 legislative session. Reason for the amendment is to add young adults who are owed compensatory services. Item 8.14 is to amend item 6.07, approved at the September 25th, 2024 legislative session. The reason for this amendment is to add young adults who are owed compensatory services. Item 8.15 is to amend item 6.04, approved at the June 26, 2024 legislative session. This amendment is due to an increase in state funding and increase in cost per child. Item 8.16 is to amend item 6.02, approved at the June 26, 2024 legislative session. This amendment is due to an increase in state funding and increase in cost per child. Item 8.17 is to amend item 6.14 approved at the December 20th, 2023 legislative session. This amendment is to extend the absolute date to June 30th, 2025. Item 8.18 is to amend item 17.02 approved at the September 25th, 2024 legislative session. This amendment is to increase the number of telehealth clinicians. Item 8.19 is to amend item 6.08 approved at the October 23rd, 2024 legislative session. This amendment is to add young adults who are owed compensatory services. That concludes the education section of the agenda.
Thank you, Dr. McNeil. You did that like you've been doing it your whole life. Are there any questions from board members on the education section of the agenda? All right, we will move on then to the business section, and I will turn it over to Mr. Ron Joseph.
Under proposals and grant awards, there are two items. Item 9.01 is for the acceptance of a PA Farm Bill Farm to School grant. Item 9.02 is for the acceptance of a grant from the Mercy McGrew Gerwig Fund. Under consulting and contract services, there are 12 items. Item 10.01 is a contract for deployment services for newly purchased technology. Item 10.02 is a contract with the Brashear Association for shuttle bus transportation. Item 10.03 is a contract for on-call architectural and design services throughout the district. Item 10.04 is a contract for a service agreement and updates to video surveillance and access control systems. Item 10.05 is a contract with Grow Pittsburgh. Item 10.06 is a contract for the replacement of the playground equipment and soft surface at Westwood. Item 10.07 is a contract for the administration of leave services. Item 10.08 is a contract for mandated safety inspections of staged theatrical equipment at various locations. Item 10.09 is a contract for auditing services for invoices for natural gas, electric, water, sewage, steam, and chilled water. Item 10.10 is a contract for the fabrication installation of fire code and ADA compliance signage. Item 10.11 is a software license renewal for Talking Points. And item 10.12 is a contract for online training courses for all district employees. Under payments authorized, item 11.01 is for the daily payments for the month of October. Item 11.02 contains the change orders for this month. Item 11.03 is a payment for the annual Homestead Farmstead mailing. Item 11.04 is a payment for various advertisements for the district. Item 11.05 is for the purchase of a packing line metal detector. And item 11.06 is for the payment for the 32nd Annual SECTUM Awards. Under general authorizations, there are 20 items. Item 12.01 is a donation of a rapid cycle evaluation. Item 12.02 is a donation to support employee wellness initiatives and Thanksgiving food bags. Item 12.03 is for the approval of the yellow bus driver list for the month ending October 31st, 2024. Item 12.04 is an amendment to the Somerset TIF Cooperation Agreement. Item 12.05 is an amendment to our contract with Atlantic Engineering Services. Item 12.06 is an amendment to an agreement with Teach Plus. Item 12.07 is an amendment to our contract with First American. Item 12.08 is an amendment to our contract with Mosher Studios. Item 12.09 is an amendment to our contract with Onindus. Item 12.10 is an amendment to our contract with OZ Enterprises, LLC. Item 12.11 is an amendment to our grant award from the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Item 12.12 is an amendment to our contract with Pittsburgh Stage. Item 12.13 is an amendment to our contract with Rexall USA. Items 12.14 and 12.15 are amendments to our contracts with Schindler Elevator Corporation. Items 12.16 and 12.17 are amendments to our contracts with SSM Industries. Item 12.18 is our amendment to our contract with Tate Engineering. Item 12.19 is an amendment to our contract with Tower Engineering. And item 12.20 is an amendment to our contract with Trans Associates. Under Section 16, you'll find the travel reimbursement applications and the travel report for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Questions from board members on the business section? I did have just one quick question, Mr. Joseph. Could you just give us a brief overview of what's happening in 12.04? What is the amendment for the TIF asking us to do, and what impact will it have?
Oh, yeah, so this is an early retirement of the TIF. So the projects have been funded, and the proceeds that have been generated are sufficient to repay any of the financing for those projects. So what this aims to do is for any leftover proceeds in the TIF fund to be used for further site remediation, and the TIF will effectively end, so the district will begin, and all taxing bodies involved will begin to receive the full value of taxes on the sites.
Excellent, that's good news.
And it's an early retirement.
Even better. All right, any other questions? All right, are there any items that board members would like to note for further discussion at next week's meeting? Okay, I don't see any. So with that, that concludes our meeting. Our schedule is slightly different for next week because of the holiday, so we do still have our public hearing on Monday, and our legislative meeting is moved to Tuesday instead of Wednesday, so we'll go back to back next week. But other than that, this meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a safe trip home if you are out, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.